What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Today we're going to work on the upper and lower inner flare pieces of the JMOD. This piece is challenging to make, and I'll walk you through my process. It involves something called a compound mitre cut. These are some of the more difficult cuts to make in woodworking. This is ultimately the piece we're going to try to make. There's a lot going on here. There's this angle, but then you'll also see if I flip it, this is also on another angle. That makes this a compound mitre. There are two angles involved. In addition to that, you have a port topography that also is a little different inside. This was a difficult geometry to make. And then you'll also have to route out a groove for your throat adapter to sit in. There's a lot of steps in this. First, we're going to start out with a rectangle. It's going to be 50.4 centimeters wide by 23.9 centimeters tall. So you'll find the center line from the longer edge, which is 25.2 centimeters. Go ahead and mark this on your rectangle. You don't need to find this angle here because I'm going to give you this measurement. So here, this is 50.4, and up here, you're going to need to do 9.3 centimeters, which is 4.65 from the center line. And I make this cut with my track saw. If you manage to get this shape and you're confident with your measurements, this would be your template. You're gonna need to make 4 of these pieces for a set of 2 JMODs. Once you add some of the secondary geometry to this piece, it doesn't become as useful of a template. I like to just have this as this shape. Everything is 90-degree angles. Once you have a template, it's easy to create more of these with a router table if you use a pattern following bit, which has a bearing to guide you along the template edge. You'll need to add your secondary angle to these side edges. And I'm going to use a table saw to do that. If the table saw blade is at 0 degrees, then you would set the blade at 21.05 degrees. If you're measuring from your table and you need to find that reciprocal angle, it's 68.95. Pay special attention to the orientation of this board because if this is the exterior face of the horn, what you're going to need to do is flip this piece over to run it through the table saw. You want that angle to be on the interior edge so that this can angle out, down, or up. If you've been following this series, I did this same setup for the Scram subwoofer that I built in order to cut an angle. I'll use a sacrificial board as a fence, and I'll slowly raise the angled blade, cutting through the board. With the saw unplugged, I'll confirm the position of it by sliding a straight edge past the blade. The goal is to not take any material off the bottom edge and only take material off of the top. So this technique works really well for minor angles, but the further the angle goes, the more the risk you have of having this off-cut piece of wood riding over the table saw blade, and that's dangerous. That is a loose piece of wood over top of the spinning blade. You are very likely to experience something like kickback, where that piece of wood gets shot out behind you from the table saw, or it gets sucked into the table saw in an instant. And this is going to happen faster than you can react. This technique works for very shallow angles. When I did it with the Scram subwoofer, I believe that was a 9-degree angle. If you're doing something like a 20-degree angle or a 45-degree angle, that is going to create this off-cut piece of wood that's dangerous. In order to combat this, I have added a shim. If you have a thin piece of wood, you could use this, but I have these off-cut pieces of acrylic from another project. They're 3 millimeters wide, and I use these to shim my piece out. I clamped them to my sacrificial board so that I'm taking a shallow pass off of my actual piece. It's just cutting off the top edge and not leaving any piece of wood above the blade. So I'll do this in 2 cuts. I'll do this one time through with this shimmed out board at around 3 millimeters, and I'll remove the shims, and then I'll run the piece again, and that will do the full depth of the cut but not have any piece of wood above the blade. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I am determined to show you a safe way to do this. And if you just try to send the full cut over the blade, I can't recommend that. This next step, we're gonna cut the ports. I'm gonna leave a link in the comments on these STL files that I made from JW Sound's CNC files. I've made this shape maybe a little bigger than it needs to be, but I like that you can reference the actual angle that you need with this shape. You can tell if you were off on your template, and it also gives you the shape of the port. I'll trace this line and then remove the bulk of the material with a bandsaw. You could use a jigsaw or a scroll saw if you don't have a bandsaw. And you'll notice I didn't add any screw holes in this template. I've been using a system where I add masking tape to both my piece and my template, and then I'll use CA glue, super glue, in order to fuse these 2 pieces together. I'm really impressed with the amount of holding power that 2 strips of masking tape and then CA glue. It really seems to fuse these pieces in place, at least to use on a router table. I'm probably not gonna make many holes in my future templates. I'm happy with how this is working. I'll glue this template piece to my board, and then I'll run it through the router table. I didn't leave a lot of wood, but I'm gonna take shallow passes. I'm not trying to use any more than like a quarter of the width of the actual router bit. That seems to, at least for my router table, which is not a very nice one, that seems to be where the machine gets bogged down, so I'm doing multiple shallow passes. I'll repeat this process for the other side. This next piece of geometry is difficult. I'm not even sure if I can show this on a video. It's really difficult. It's a solid cone that's coming out from this piece. I'm including a file in that link, this is the port interior piece, and I just trace this line. I'm bringing it over to the oscillating spindle sander, adjusting the angle as I go, and I'm really trying to get a straight line that doesn't go down the entire way of this piece. It's about 6 millimeters. So a 12 millimeter straight line out to the end of this port, straight line here. I really think that you can get away with just using a 1/2 inch roundover bit, but for the sake of the purists out there, and this is kind of the woodworking that I enjoy doing. I like trying to feel like I'm an artist when I'm in the wood shop. I'm sanding this line on the oscillating spindle sander adjusting the angle a lot, checking. And so you're gonna try to do a straight angled line 12 millimeters deep around the edge. And after that, you just need to route out a groove for the throat adapter to sit in. This is just beyond 4 centimeters deep, and I think it's around 6 millimeters deep, but set it to the depth of your throat adapter, and you're gonna route out this groove here. And that's it. You have to make 4 of these pieces if you're doing a pair of JMODs. But those are all the steps. We're setting the initial angle. We're setting the compound mitre angle. We're cutting the ports. We're doing the port topography. And we're also routing this groove. This was a complicated piece. Thank you for bearing with me. In the next video, we're going to do the secondary outer flare, and I hope you follow along. Thanks for all the encouragement I'm getting on these. If you want to follow along, please subscribe and give this video a like. It's really helping expand my reach. Thanks again.